Yeah, start, please. Please, Basudhara, start.
Good evening, everyone. And I think that this could be the brightest, smiles that we are wearing this evening. Particularly in our part of the world, things are not very well, things are not very hopeful. And I believe this was a wonderful idea that Professor Sarangi had of bringing everyone together. The project that we have been engaged in for almost a year now, the Hearth Within, has been a way of connecting, people, a way of connecting souls, a way of connecting people to poetry. So the idea, of course, was Jaydeep sir's brainchild, and he thought it would be a good idea if we could, make a collage of video readings from poets from all parts of the world. And that was how, listening to poetry would be a way of healing, would be a way of coming together, would be a way of trying to meet a better tomorrow. And almost everyone here has participated in some or the other edition. We have come forward with 4 editions of the Hearth Within, and almost every poet here has participated. They have been very generous to offer us a reading of their poems. And this is how, the journey has grown. And we are very grateful that we received so much love and affection, and that all of you are here this evening to share with us your lovely poems. Over to you, Jaydeep sir, to welcome this beautiful gathering.
Thank you. It's really something very special this evening from India. Though poets from different backgrounds, different time zones are kind enough to take part, and very nice to look all you smiling. Nothing can take life to gutter, because poetry has its force, and that connects minds, connects continents, and of course, it gives us hope to look forward to a better tomorrow. What is better than better tomorrow? So I welcome Malsawmi Jacob, who is these days in New Zealand, and very late at night, she is now joining from New Zealand. Bibhu Padhi needs no introduction, seasoned poet, whom we follow every day almost, and 16 collections to his credit, and published all reputed big journals in the world, a poet for long standing. Lakshmi Kannan madam is long standing poet, writer, best in Delhi now. So, and she is a soul maker. Sanjukta Di and Malashri Lal are mentors, whom every day we get up in the morning and we go to sleep by following them closely. And welcome both of you to this very special evening. Welcome Bootheina from Tunisia. She is a poetess and she is a performer and also a professor of English in Tunisia. Welcome Bootheina to Indian context. Thank you. Welcome Usha, who is a known face for all of us, and she lives in Isle of Man, and we collaborated a lot, and she has several collections to her credit. Welcome Usha. Welcome to this edition today. Jayanthi Manoj from Tiruchinappalli, a poetess and of course a professor of English. Sonia Nair, we all know. Recently she conducted a brilliant poetry festival, Sanjukta Poetry Festival, and that is many of us were there. Welcome Sonia. Welcome Shruti from Berhampur, professor of English, and of course a great poet from Odisha. Malashri Pachauri, we are waiting. I think, is she here around, Malashri? Indian poetess settled in Vienna, Austria, and a brilliant poet of so many collections to her credit. Chittaranjan Mishra.
I'm here. Can you
oh, welcome. Yes.
We are quite a few. That's why we can't see each other, I think.
Yes. That is the welcome. Welcome Chittaranjan from Puri, and for the Hindus, the Puri is the most important place, and that's why a poet from Puri and Chittaranjan was a professor of English, retired now, and Nithya Mariam John from Kerala, poetess for 3 collections, and of course a translator from Kerala. Sufia Khatoon from Kolkata, a performance poet mainly, and really we work together in Kolkata. Basudhara, whose collection we recently released in Shammukta Poetry. Welcome to you. It's wonderful meeting you all. So I'm really amazed that all of you are here, and we will share this evening very informally, because these days we are a lot of we are facing anxiety, lot every day, some sort of separation, some sort of living. The sense of living is there. So only a better tomorrow, hope for better tomorrow, I think, can connect each other. The condition of India, I think, will be better very soon. And poetry is the door through which we will read our poems today. And over to Basudhara for the program. Thank you all. Welcome you all.
Thank you, sir. So we are all here very eager to listen to poems, and we will begin right away with Malsawmi ma'am. So Malsawmi Jacob is a bilingual poet and writer who has published 9 books. She's a native of Mizoram, has worked in various cities of India. She has edited several anthologies and journals. Her novel Zorami, A Redemption Song, is a prescribed reading in 2 university campuses and used by scholars as part of their research material. We are so glad she has been able to join us from New Zealand, where it is already very late. We welcome you, ma'am, and we invite you to read your poems.
Please unmute.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's such a joy to meet you all. We keep hearing so much of bad news these days, and it makes one sad. But yes, like Jaydeep says, poetry is a hope. Let's hope and pray for a better tomorrow. Am I audible?
Yeah, sure.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. So I'll read. Yes. I'm going to read very simple poems, ultra simple poems today. The first one is Weather. Weather. The sky is sullen today. The woods are quite dark. The fields take a different hue. Even flowers fail to cheer. Bright swords flash in the clouds. Rain beats hard on the windshield. The way ahead is wrapped in mist. Where has yesterday's sun gone? The clouds are lifting now. A patch of blue sky shows. The brooding trees raise up their heads. The sun will shine again. And one more. Eagle and Sparrow. Eagle said to her friend Sparrow, "Come on, let's fly. Fly and soar up and high, beyond the hills, beyond the sea. Let's see what's there to see." Sparrow replied, "Farewell, my friend. Fly up high to the sky. But how can I, sparrow with broken wing, keep up with you?" Eagle answered, "Don't worry, my little friend. I'll carry you on my back. Tuck yourself in my feathers and hold fast. So together we will fly on my wings." Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice. Thank you. Very nice.
Thank you, Malashri. Wonderful. And now we move on to Bibhu Padhi, who needs no introduction, writing for several decades, I think 3 decades and counting, 4 decades and counting, and started writing in the late 1970s, and a part of canon making of Indian English poetry, and has published extensively in more reputed journals in the world, What Not to Express. And the latest being the one I got copied just day before yesterday, Friendship with Time. Over to Bibhu. These 2 points.
Thank you, Jaydeep. I have 2 poems, one a short one, and the second a slightly longish poem. Will you bear with it?
Yeah.
Can I?
Sure.
The first one is called Trying to Find Things. It seems during all these years, I have been waiting for things to arrive on their own. A phrase, a line, an event that tells its own story. I have refused to realize how strenuous it can be, how far from where truth is. It seems one must look for things, locate the right place, become a part of the magic of the world, turn to a secret that always changes its name and shape, moves beyond itself every second of a solitary time. It has been rather late in knowing this, following a voice that can be hardly heard among the world's noises and elaborate rituals in which one may not believe. Today is another day. It was never there in the past, and so gives one a chance to change, become one with all things, including those that are so very much absent. And then the title poem of my latest book, A Friendship with Time. From a place within this night that I have not known previously, a casual question arrives. Would you know me? The voice seems gentle, motionless, familiar, as true and right as the stars and the galaxy, as true and right as the stars and the galaxy, as near as the air I breathe. It is difficult to place it among the remembered noises of the world, its selfish motives, harsh absences. Could it be someone I might have forgotten, taken for granted, just as so many others have taken me since a time I can remember? A feeling of guilt rises from somewhere inside this mind, this heart. The question haunts my innocence and privacy, keeps repeating itself from all that is with me, around me. From the sleep of my children and wife, their simple breathing, the stacks of books I piled over the years in order to make myself wise, the walls and the ceiling, memories of lost trees, the bed in which I have learned to lie without sleep, my mouth and lips. The question comes again. Would you know me? It is much closer now, as if it were next to me, like a friend, a lover, whom I had lost in my effort to prove myself to the world, among conquest and defeat, pleasure and hurt, the pain of forgetting, my inability to move within, stay happy with myself, my countless stupidity. How do I answer the question? Words are too far from me now than they were an hour ago. You do not need words for love and friendship, a reassurance that I have never had so affectionately, embraces every limb and eye, ever so gently touching my toes and fingertips, breathing through my heart, mind, and body. Breath meets breath. I recollect words are few, but then a pair of remote lips, shy like the night, somehow whispered, "Yes, oh yes, dear friend, I know you intimately. Thank you."
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Mesmerizing. Thank you, Bibhuda. Over to
Thank
Basudhara,
you.
please.
Thank you for these very, very profound and moving poems. We move over to Lakshmi Kannan, who is a poet, novelist, short story writer, translator. Her recent collection of poems is Sipping the Jasmine Moon, which is a fifth collection released in 2019. She is bilingual, and besides English, she has published her fiction in Tamil in the pen name Kaveri. Over to you, Lakshmi ma'am. We are so grateful you were able to join us. You have to unmute yourself, ma'am.
Unmute.
Very, very sorry. I said the pleasure is entirely mine. I'm hugely thankful to Jaydeep, Sarangi and Basudhara, not just for inviting me, but for making me write these two poems, which otherwise would have just languished in my mind forever for that other indefinite tomorrow, which never comes. But you made that tomorrow happen. And you made us look at the positive side of what is happening now. There are lots of things that are changing people, and my poem is about how we are adapting, how people are changing for the better. And I feel we are moving towards a better tomorrow because people are going to be better. That is my hope. And for your heartwarming, addressing your heartwarming project, The Hearth Within, poetry is also something that heals you from within. I have two poems here. One is about the temple cultures that I come from South India. So for us and maybe for everybody else, temples are closed. The doors are closed firmly. And how do we adapt? How do we do a particular puja? And we felt that recently when we did a puja for Ganeshji was also a very adaptable deity. It was not just we were adapting, I think he was equally meeting us halfway. So the first one is called, this time, Chaturthi. This time, you had to follow the laws of the land. With the temple doors firmly shut for COVID, we couldn't select you from 50 other or choose your Ma Shakti, Father Shiva, and brothers Kanda. There was, of course, no question of buying flowers, garlands, banana leaves, and kusha grass with samadhi. You were home delivered, wrapped in a bubble wrap. We bathed you with sanitizers and kept a social distance even from you. You emerged from all the COVID protocol, the trademark humor, intact on your lips, your lovely elephant face, so harmonized with the rest of the human body. Wait, said the youngest child. Put a mask on Ganesh's face, or he may get infected by us. Protect him, said this youngest child. Over the mask, his eyes smiled, our friendly, adaptable deity. Promise is his middle name. Here I am, he said, to remove all your obstacles. But first things first, where's my modak? Thank you. The second one is called, thank you so much. The second one is called Home Got Bigger. Home in the sense of family got bigger. Home got bigger. It is about belief systems or Hindu belief systems in rituals connected with death, termination, because we believe in the eternity of the soul, and maybe all other belief systems also do. And if I don't mention them, it's just out of my ignorance. But this is about the rituals and how the home got bigger. The death put a name to a number. She was Basudhara, the beloved mother of the grown children. Her case sheet read as COVID complications. We don't believe that we absolutely die on the day we are proclaimed clinically dead. There is an animated soul, we are told, that's fully aware of what's going on. For the next 10 days, everything was done to honor the dear departed one by her family and other families. On the 13th day, new rituals were undertaken to please her soul so that she lives happily on her onward journey. Basudhara must have been aware of how the taciturn neighbor who never smiled got her children freshly cooked food morning and evening, morning and evening. And that one in that corner house, dismissed as snooty by everybody, quietly put his cars and driver at their disposal and hung around to comfort her children. Those in home isolation stood in their balconies, their hands folded in farewell as they watched her leave. Basudhara felt she was everybody's mother. All along the drive to the crematorium, people helped. The police took guard. The priests aided her to mingle with the elements. Basudhara felt that at long last, she had left her children in the midst of a Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Thank you. Thank you.
That was a beautiful poem. Thank you so much. We move over next to Sanjukta ma'am, our very own Sanjukta Di. Sanjukta Dasgupta is professor, former head, Department of English, and former Dean, Faculty of Arts, Calcutta University. Presently, she is the President Executive Council of the Indian Poetry and Performance Library at Kolkata and the convener of the English Language Board and member of the General Council of the Sahitya Akademi. She has published 6 collections of poems, her latest being Sita's Sisters, which has received wonderful reviews from across the globe. Sanjukta ma'am, we are so grateful that you could join us today, and over to you for your wonderful poems.
Thank you, Jaydeep and Basudhara. It's wonderful that in these very, very, I can't even think of an adjective which can really describe what we are going through. And it is such a time of gloom and doom and pessimism that Jaydeep, conceiving the idea of bringing us all together and also titling it A Better Tomorrow made me feel that at least somewhere something is really positive, and we shall not only endure, we shall also overcome. Now, the 2 poems I plan to read this evening are poems which was published in what we call the COVID volume. And these were published last year, written last year. One just didn't imagine that this year again, we will have to engage in COVID, not as something that had happened once upon a time, but it is all around us. And if you hear the television and hear the news and the doctors talking, it seems absolutely that in another 5 minutes, it's all over. So in such circumstances, I want to read 2 poems which were published in that particular volume. It's called Dusk to Dawn. But suddenly now the dawn has become topsy-turvy. So from dawn to dusk again. But let us see. The two poems that I plan to read are Annus Horribilis. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So, Annus Horribilis. Where have all the fighter planes gone? Where are the bazookas and drones? Those intercontinental ballistic missiles, the grenade launchers and magnum guns? Where are the shells that split open the hearts and heads of the targets? Where are the sniper rifles and the F-15E Strike Eagles? Where lurks the remote control devils of death? The world's armory of humankind killers now rusts and gathers dust. An invisible, invincible microvirus now holds us hostage with its incredible might. This infiltrator is not an extraterrestrial monster. It is neither a suicide bomber nor a hired terrorist. Glowing in a lethal corona halo, it is a hide and spring champion, a novel, malignant, menacing microvirus. Can we forgive it, for it does not know what it is doing? Our post-truth world where fake news rules, where pricks of conscience seem like absurd romantic rash and mushy sentiment, our world of credit cards and debit cards, I shop, therefore I am, our global mantra, endlessly chanted in Instagram and videos, selfies, texts, posts, and deafening tweets. Baffled, the philosophic coronavirus reflects. So they need to die to wake up. My second poem is O Boishak. Boishak is the month of April. And in the Bengali calendar, we call it the month of Boishak. And it is a little sad for me to read this poem because the person who really introduced me to the group of poets who made the COVID book, that person is right now fighting COVID. And only about 5 days back, he lost his wife. I'm talking about Professor Indranath Chaudhary, whom you all know. So this poem is dedicated to him. O Boishak, purge and purify the ailing earth. Let the fierce blazing sun scorch the demons of death. O Boishak, I am rooted in a graveyard. Cardboard coffins lie everywhere. Even the grave diggers have gone. Bodies rot as crematoriums are few. Too many are suddenly falling asleep. Too many are leaving too soon. Pangs of hunger make them writhe and beg. Too many migrant feet trudge in search of home. Hunger haunts the ghostly towns and villages. Sleepless in cities as ghastly processions gasp in breathless agony everywhere. Nightmares ride like the furies. The echoes scream and scare each other. The violent, virulent virus goes viral. Can an invisible, blind, deaf and dumb droplet of death be the monarch of all it surveys? Karuna, compassion, karuna, compassion, karuna. Chant the healing, cleansing raindrops as they fall, and a pristine new year of hope is born. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Sanjukta Ji, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that very, very powerful poem, particularly the last.
Very powerful, Sanjukta. Very powerful.
Thank you.
We are actually trying to, may it be an incantation, to drive away the hide and spring virus. And thank you very much for the beautiful poems. We move over to Malashri ma'am. Malashri Lal is retired professor of English, Dean of Colleges and Director of Women's Studies and Development Center at University of Delhi. The most recent of her 16 books is Betrayed by Hope, a play on the life of Michael Madhusudan Dutt, co-authored with Namita Gokhale. Currently, she is member of the English Advisory Board of the Sahitya Academy, and we are so grateful that she could be with us this evening. Over to you, Malashri ma'am, for your poems.
Thank you very much, Jaydeep, Basudhara. And I also want to thank Sanjukta for bringing me into this wonderful group of poets and the IPPL that operates out of Calcutta. That's brought me today in touch with friends from poets that I have read from many other parts of the world. So thank you, because this is a moment for being together and hoping together. And I'm glad to see my friend Lakshmi from Delhi. And Jaydeep was asking how things are in our city. And as Lakshmi's poem pointed out, they are dismal. But we will not lose hope, which is why I'm grateful that all of us are looking at the possibilities of a better tomorrow. So I will read two short poems. The first one is called Blue Haze. So many of my friends are in hospital, and I try to reach out to their families. And this is a short poem that is written on the basis of the experiences that they are going through. Blue haze. In the blue haze of an oxygen mask, I found your cool palm soothing my forehead. I looked for a face and saw nothing or everything. In the swirl of the universe, where pain is the only language, your hand was the alphabet of faith. So that's the first one. Thank you. The second poem is called Lessons from the Ganga. As we know, the holy Ganga, or Ma Ganga as we call her, flows through much of the northern part of the country. It's also the Ganga in which the ashes after a Hindu cremation are floated. And it is the Ganga that teaches us many lessons as we come upon difficulties and obstacles in our lives. So this again is a short poem which is called Lessons from the Ganga. She is young and wise, rushing over boulders. She tries not to break her stride, but there are times she gets stuck. Eddies come in the way. An outcrop stretches its leg. Ganga throws her foaming waters into a swirl, tries to bypass the stone. She cannot. She turns round and around in a whirlpool, madly. Then I watch and learn that the confusion is partial in one half of her being. The other part creatively works another trick. The waters twist themselves away from the whirling, swirling pool, slowly, bruised, frothing with fatigue. Finally, she emerges past the blockage, once again smilingly on her way. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that very beautiful poem at the end, and may we all emerge, with the strength and the spirit of Ganga that Malashri ma'am brought to the gathering. Thank you so much, ma'am, for that very wonderful poem of hope. We move over to our next poet, who is Bootheina Majoul. She's currently Associate Professor of English at Tunisia. She has published a number of books on various important subjects, particularly memory happens to be an important area of research for Bootheina, memory and poetics. Her most recent publications include co-edited books on history and memory in Arab literature and the poetics and hermeneutics of pain and pleasure in 2021. Bootheina, we are very glad you are here with us, and we also welcome your friends and students who have joined us from Tunisia and who have always, been a source of inspiration for all of us. Thank you so much for being here today. Over to you for your poems.
Thank you, Basudhara. Thank you, Basudhara, for this generous introduction, and for thank you, Jaydeep, for inviting me, our dear friend, to my heart, and thank you for gathering us to share the word of words. I think we need this bubble. We resort to poetry as a safe bubble to survive. The world is thirsty of love, beauty, music, and harmony. So I will share with you the piano, then a touch of Sufism into a world with vertigo, if I may. The piano, swaying like a mermaid on the soothed, gentle melody, diving into the deep horizons of notes. Words come into the mind like sweet waves touching the seashores. Feeling of lightness and brightness inspire a tremendous symphony. Sounds of bamboos and shells mingle with the blowing songs of the wind. Shadows of sorrow, shades of bliss, hanging over that piano. It played for love, for peace. It sang for pain and grief. The harmonious rhythms celebrated lives, hymns, chants, and operas of deep dives. The second poem is inspired by my Sufi readings. The title of the poem is Vertigo. Whirling, whirling from within, unaware you're already in, purged from your sin. Turning, turning inside, unconscious of the long ride, being on the right side. Rounding, rounding inwardly, having no knowledge of the worldly, surviving within the self shortly, stopping, stepping suddenly, regaining awareness solemnly, looking around quickly, returning back to the world unexpectedly. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Bootheina, for those
Wonderful.
You brought a Sufi touch, you brought a poetics of motion, and you took us out of the, hopelessness, the darkness that we are in. You showed us a way towards the possibility of light. Thank you so much. We move to our next poet, Usha Kishore. She's an internationally published poet, resident on the Isle of Man, UK. She's currently a research scholar at Edinburgh Napier University. Her latest collection of poems is Immigrant, published by Eyewear Publishing London in 2018. Thank you, Usha ma'am, for joining us, and we look forward to your beautiful poems. Over to you.
Please unmute. Please.
Yourself.
Usha, unmute.
Okay. Namaste. Thank you, Jaydeep and Basudhara. You seem to be organizing poetry readings in a massive international scenario and forums. Thank you very much for inviting me into this August audience and to be part of this great August readership of the wonderful poets from India. And let us all hope that poetry brings in light in this darkness. The first poem that I'll be reading is called Absent Sky. Absent sky, Manasarovar. Snow dyes the mind, freezing the myth of time. Passing clouds wax astral batiks into the fabric of still air. Mandalas and yantras for wandering souls. Thought translates into blue eternity, veiling the kneeling earth in immortal hue. In the paling distance, on a mist-clad rock dome, jeweled in glacial eyes, a celestial being wearing the crescent moon on his forehead contemplates the world. Day and night merge into cosmic dreams as winds gasp between sound and silence. Rainbow flags flutter in tranquil prayer, and a twilight mantra rises on wings of fire as the mind lake meditates on an absent sky.
Beautiful.
Thank you. The next poem is called Voice. It is inspired by the Hindi poem Mauna Nimantran by Sumitranandan Pant. I think this is an invocation to the elements, the five elements, as in the Indian philosophy. Voice. From the other side of time, a voice echoes in my ears, resonant with promises of a life to come. You are the voice of air. From twilight to twilight, a voice burns in my heart. A third eye opens, fiery embers flow in my veins. You are the voice of fire. From the lightning's edge, a voice melts into my soul. Luminous clouds shed their shimmer into my tears. You are the voice of water. From the darkness of night, a voice caresses and lulls me to sleep. It flowers in my dreams. You are the voice of earth. From the golden womb of the universe, a voice rings in dark eternity. It vibrates in my pulses. You are the voice of the sky. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for reminding us that all the elements are inside us. We are all elements of the divine, and therefore there is hope to look forward to. We move from twilight to twilight, but we hope that we also get to see the dawn at the end of things. Thank you so much. We move forward to our next poet, Jayanthi Manoj, who is a widely anthologized Indian English poet. Her anthology of poems is entitled Sketches from the Pages of My Diary. She's also assistant professor of English at Holy Cross College, Trichy, and has a wonderful YouTube channel, Voices and Whispers, which will offer you a lot of hope and healing. Thank you, Jayanthi, for joining us. And I also welcome the wonderful audience that we have from Holy Cross College, colleagues, friends, students. Welcome all of you to this wonderful evening. And thank you so much for being with us. Over to you, Jayanthi, for your healing poems.
Thank you so much, and warm greetings from Tamil Nadu. Thank you, Basudhara, for beautifully coordinating the entire event, and very much grateful to Jaydeep ji, who always connects voices across the globe and the subcontinent like the rivers that are meant to be connected. I'm so happy to be a part of this poetry reading session, and it's so heartwarming to listen to the many voices that I have read and known through online media, and to listen to you in person. I'm so privileged, and I'm so happy to read two of my poems tonight. And as we proceed, prayer tonight, at least in this part of the world, is poetry for us today. So there are two poems that I would like to read. The first one is titled Until This Is Over, and is a poem on finding healing in the isness of the moment. So as we go through this phase. And my second poem is titled A Double Striped Rainbow, a poem of promise and healing. So let me begin my poem. Until This Is Over. Until this is over, let us play the spiritual rhythm of healing poetry in any voice, in any verse, turning into therapeutic renditions of the finer soul's restorative songs. Until this is over, may we turn inward for the meaning of the underived complexities of daily living, listening to the heart thump its beat in litany, and grateful for every cure and answered prayer. Until this is over, and until this icy cubed living is thawed, may we share this rhymy space with balmy words, summer-like smiles, scented with unsolicited love, warming as a hearth within. Until this is over, may we retrace kindness, barter our gold for all our old comforts of companionship, pace down on the tracks of race, and move into gentler woods, quietude spaces, and be in gratitude for the lifespan of grace. Until this is over, isolated and compressed within the tension of volatility, may we rise as the transcristi structure of healed humanity, notched in strength, gained in the share and care moments of the times. May we meditate on the refrains of breathing and giving, a fractal of healing, recursive, curative, a harmonic blessing. Thank you. And the second poem
Thank you.
is titled A Double Striped Rainbow and is an imaginative poem because imagination is curative. And suppose the master healer is going to reinvent his rainbow promise. How would the new rainbow be? Because during the biblical times, we had the rainbow as a promise that the Lord will no longer destroy the world through floods. And this time, it will be a double striped because it has to be double in its blessing and curative form. So here we go, a double striped rainbow. Post the pandemic gloom, the healer would give us a double striped rainbow with tints and tones of nature's recovery, textured with resilience, a touchstone of gratitude and abundance. A golden strip of bounty with a purple band of thanksgiving, a punch of pink and brown smiles with a metallic sliver of courage, a strip of woody trust with a string of joyful pearls, a cup of herbal tea with a drizzle of honey, a loom of aligned thoughts and mindful silence, words if needed, any, an all season of greenery with whispering winds and fringes of moss and ferns, an endless azure sky of hope and light with puffs of tonic laughter. This shall be the rainbow covenant of healing and victory, prismatic, doubled for you and me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you,
Wonderful.
Jayanthi. This was indeed a blessed poem, two blessed poems, and we look forward to this rainbow covenant. We look forward to your double striped rainbow, and you indeed offer us some light in this darkness. Thank you so much for sharing these wonderful poems, and over to Jaydeep, sir, to carry on the program.
Thank you, Jayanthi. It's wonderful. And then we move on to from Tamil Nadu to Kerala, Sonia Nair, and a very familiar name. And she has just concluded, as I mentioned, wonderful festival, and where many of us took part, and we were so happy about it. Over to Sonia for two wonderful, wonderful poems. Sonia, please.
Thank you, Jaydeep, sir. Thank you, Basudhara. And very happy to be here amongst friends, and names I have only read so far. So it's a great honor. The two poems that I have selected, one is called Vishu, which is the festival of the equinox and coincides with festivals such as Baisakhi that was just being spoken about. So there is that common thread that runs, and it's a poem that talks about a kind of a personal hope, for situations that could change and that would be better, and which it's more of a wishful thinking in a sense of the term, but something that all of us would identify with. A nostalgia for things that we used to take for granted, but does not happen anymore. And this festival, Vishu, is actually festival of the equinox. It's one of the most celebrated festivals in Kerala, and it's considered to be extremely auspicious. And the day starts with people waking up early morning, and there is a Vishu Kani which is prepared, where you go in front of Lord Krishna, who I see is Bootheina's backdrop there. Yeah, Lord Krishna, and there will be a profusion of laburnum flowers indicating prosperity. Items of prosperity such as books and money and all would be kept, and that would be the first sight that one sees in the morning: lit lamp in a semi-dark room, and it sets the tone. So this poem, starts off about Vishu. In Kerala, we celebrate the equinox, placing amidst gourds and cornucopia a profusion of laburnum flowers. This year, the flowers largely remained on the trees, no one hawking them 10 rupees a bunch. Where did they go? The hawkers, I mean. The flowers I could see quietly shedding their prosperity. Gone also is the lottery seller who used to cash in on my festive daredevilry. My man with the iron box on a push cart is needed no more. Sweatpants work from home. I say my flowerless, ticketless, crumpled equinox prayers and wait. Laburnums can't help but bloom, said the poet. So I know they will be back, the flowers and the people. Thank you. And that's one of them. And the other actually was not my original choice for reading today. I actually wrote it only yesterday because I was deeply moved by an incident that happened a week ago. And I suppose in the general chaos of life and other news, this item kind of, does not feature in our general scheme of things, I would say. And it is about a young child by the name of Sumila Rumhangpi. From Assam. And, I would like to say that this, for me, a better tomorrow would be one where this does not happen ever again. So I will not talk about the incident. I would like you to listen and understand. That's it. And keep it in your mind like an ember so that, one day we will, when the time comes, we will remember. It's called When Sumila Came Home, for Sumila Ronghangpi. When Sumila came home, what a welcome she got. Her family calling out, strangers craning their necks to see, and cameras recording for posterity. For one who swept, wept, washed, scrubbed, and was pinned down until routines were her multiplication tables and language a litany of violations. For one who could be reached out and had, like a bottle of water or a smug grab of no one to ask ability, what greater welcome can there be for scarred, scared, charred bones to finally rest at home, to sleep in solitary splendor where shadows have no claws, where nerve endings don't weep in pain, where skies are for counting stars and for waving cross-eyed at birds. When Sumila came home, she was for once 12. This is for the 12-year-old Sumila Rohangpi, who was working as a domestic in a house in Assam and was brutally murdered. And the only thing that she wanted to do was to finally get home. So I hope it will be a better tomorrow for humanity at least. Thank you.
Very moving, Sonia. Thank you so much. Yeah. Hope we are looking forward to a better tomorrow. Truly. Thank you so much. And from Kerala, we come to Odisha, coastal Odisha, Berhampur. The poetess of A Daughter Speaks. Shruti Das is based in Berhampur, teaches at the Department of English, Berhampur University, and she is an editor as well as poetess for a long time. Over to Shruti.
Thank you so much, Jaydeep. I'm delighted to be here amongst a galaxy of poets whom you have collected from all over the globe. I know some, I have read most, and I am really, really honored to be a part of this gathering, whether by accident or choice. Well, so thank you so much for this opportunity. I have heard these lovely poems, and the last one almost, I mean, my eyes were filled with tears. So I'm going to read two of my poems, and for a better tomorrow, definitely. One of my poems is a part of my second volume of poetry, second collection, Lidless Eyes. So this has been translated into many languages, and this is also a part of the curriculum of Parampur University. So this is called A New Dawn. I have left you back. I have left you sitting with the needles, the spikes, and bloodless veins of yesterday. I have left back ghost-like memories that haunted me and threatened to grip my brain and squeeze my heart till drops of sweat oozed out of my toenails. With a sway of my hips, I've left you with the last autumn leaves, to laugh your toothless, scary laugh through the iron railings of yesterday's windows. I have put on stringless shoes. I have unsashed the frills of my dress and left you the scissors with which you sharpened to clip my wings. My wings have tasted the wind, have slipped out through the keyholes of your dark home into a mindless stubbornness. I have left. I have left and now gyrate to the music of the wind. I sway and swirl, swish and bow, winter, spring, summer. There is always song in the wind. I have left you sitting by the window with your fat fingers and overgrown teeth, sucking the stale air and playing cloud flutes. The sunshine tempted me into liquid passion. I left you with your needles and spikes and blunt scissors. I was tempted by a new language, a new dress, a new dance, and a new set of teeth for a new smile. I swayed my hips. In exaggerate abandon, in a new town, in a new year, and in the post-pandemic scenario. We are all hoping for about few days back. Well, again, this has the seasons to begin with. It is called The Moonlight Dreamer. Winter, spring, summer, winter, and again summer. And there I was, sitting on a bed of fear, reclined, supported by my arms, legs stretched out before me. Fierce, furry, spiky, and slithery, tried to get into the pores of my limbs and face with a jagged laugh, egging me to become friends with them. But I had promised to walk to the moonlight, to the dreamy night queen. And there was the red-breasted bulbul with her proud black tiara, hopping from the pink oleander to the red hibiscus tree. A tweet and a song, short flights for drops of nectar and tiny twigs to make her home. The black tomcat watched her with lazy eyes, smacking eager lips, poised on a broken brick wall. But I had promised to walk in the moonlight to the dreamy night queen. And then the first evening star came and put up the toothless smile of my grandmother and spun her web of stories over the bed of fear, of April, and Prince Charming, of Cinderella's glass slippers, of rainbows of sugar and honey that I was to cross over. And there I was out of bed to keep my promise, to walk in the moonlight to the dreamy night queen. Thank you.
Thank you, Shruti. We are looking forward to this dreamy night and for a better tomorrow. Thank you, Shruti. Thank you so much for wonderful, wonderful poems. Thank you. And from Odisha to Vienna, Austria, and over to Meenakshi Pachauri. She is a very prolific writer, short story writer, poet. Over to Meenakshi, please. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear you.
Okay, great. So this is a short poem. I live at the edge of the Viennese forest. And so here's my take for a better tomorrow. And this poem is called The Offering on Today's Altar. I do not need to look to know the wildflowers closed overnight. They lie gathered on a brass plate, huddled like fallen children. They keep time with wild cherry trees, like white day fireworks in ciliated larches. Beaches stretch lurid green. A single bird lifts high above the horizon. I have left the womb of night in haste. I overturned the red cup, poured and spread a shattered sky in the east. Lately, I have begun to see a pair of turtle doves fly. From high firs in the west, they climb and hold the air. With each wing beat, they leave my field of vision. This is the world worth fighting for. I hope I could give you a sense of the world I want to fight for. And my world is nature and us, in that order. And then I have a small poem which I wrote for my little niece. She was just 6 years old at the time, and this was in Delhi in winter. And in the meantime, she's about 8.5 years old now, and perhaps, we don't know, but perhaps she has corona. So it's very poignant now to read this poem. It's called For Dhwani. For Dhwani. How early women learn to feign pain. My little niece has a headache and refuses to go to school. They tell her what to do, she says, and she doesn't like that. I send her out by force of habit to play in the smog. I say for some fresh air, and I do not know where that comes from. At night, I lay my head on her delicate chest and speak in silence to her growing heart. I say, do not take in the small dirt of the world. Resist, dear one. You must be more than this, more than us that have brought this mudding, this dust, words much too clean that come from the earth. So when she wakes and concentrates her entire incipient being on me, petitions me with her eyes, I enter her play, and she is my guide. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Meenakshi. And are you sitting beside that window from the valley of Vienna is seen? Yeah?
I can show you.
Can
you see
it? Yeah, last time you showed me wonderful valley of Austria. Yeah, it's a lovely place.
Can you see it?
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah. Really looking great. Yeah, wonderful. Thank you for killing words. And from Vienna to the seat of Lord Jagannatha Puri, Lies of the Limerence, the author of Lies of the Limerence by Chittaranjan Mishra. Over to Chittada, a poet, critic, retired professor of English, based in Bhubaneswar now. Over to Chittaranjan Mishra. Please unmute, Chittada. Please unmute.
Yes. Thank you so much for making me a part of this wonderful evening with wonderful poets. In fact, when I got the invitation from Jaydeep regarding this poetry session, a ray of hope actually kindled in me, because I was so full of green thoughts that I was reminded of a line by in Thomas Hardy's poem "After a Journey." There is a line, "Where we will next be, there is no knowing." So that kind of uncertainty was there. But when I got this invitation for this poetry session, and with its concept that there is a better tomorrow and poetry can open the door for it, really filled me with hope. It filled me with expectation. It filled me with thoughts of possibility. Thank you, Jaydeep, for arranging this meet. Um, my first poem is a blank sheet of paper. A blank sheet of paper, like an empty chair, calls the guests in silence, calls the words and their pictures that have come before and haven't come to make them visible through the fluid colors of invisible thoughts. In your absence, what am I? Merely an empty sheet, a sheet of indifferent glass without any reflection. Now I am a blank sheet of paper, a sky unscratched by the needle-tipped leaves of the palms, a waiting of a handful of earth, yet unclaimed by warring hands, a dry seed, a thought, before sprouting shoots of language. Then my second poem is entitled Answer. Which space in the blue infinity our planet has entered, where light waits in obeisance to time to measure the forces of darkness? Can life's journey be suspended, oscillating between dreams and fear? My questions emerged, and speeding up like arrows disappeared. I am blank, left in a cave, light sucked away from the hollow. I see a tiny worm glowing, followed by other glows. It's not a cave, it's a starry night. Maybe the earth has traveled the difficult distance. Now I know a tiny bird can bring the sun. Your smile can pave the way for a new world. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wonderful poems. Thank you. Thank you. Now, we move on from Puri to the God's own country, Kerala again. It's Nithya Mariam John, and noted poet of 3 collections, translator, English teacher, and most important collection, Blitz and Roars. And over to Nithya, please.
Thank you, Dr. Sarangi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. The first poem which I would like to read is titled Pratyasha. Pratyasha in Malayalam means hope. And this poem was written a couple of days ago. We lost our niece, who was barely 4 years old, to COVID-19. And as I was wondering how to comfort my grieving brother, he texted me at night that my angel is in the safest abode. Her name was Angela, and this poem is something which I wrote to heal myself. And this is in memory of Angela, who bid goodbye to us at the age of 4 a couple of days ago. She was a special child, and she succumbed to COVID-19. And this is something to all who are out there fighting this pandemic days. And of course, we'll definitely see light at the end. Pratyasha, which means hope. Hope is what remains between half-broken teeth. Resonance of laughter, wisdom of anecdotes, and history of the splintered rose of ivory. The distance between survival and death is a sojourn of memories. The cooing of cuckoo, the smell of the rains, the empty space on a tiny cot, where the angels tread upon day and night. What is left when mountains tremble, oceans grumble, and the world locks down? There is much left. The blue of the sky, which prophesies a blushing canvas of the eternal. A tiny emerald money plant which crowns the remnants of a torn mask. And brooding doves which keep company to the lone cross, never leaving the holy tabernacle. You ask me, what lies beyond a 4-feet coffin? The best. A heart ripening, still ripening in paradise, raised beyond the eyes of any serpent and grasp of Adam or Eve. The sleeping angel dreams beyond life. The sleeping angel dreams beyond life. I would like to move to the second poem. It's titled Spaciously Mine, and this is something to which I wrote a post. To which I actually took the postscript from Racha Bregman's book titled Humankind, and this is what Bregman says. In truth, it is a cynic who's out of touch. In truth, we are living on a planet where people are deeply inclined to be good to one another. So be realistic, be courageous, be true to your nature, and offer your trust. Do good in broad daylight, and don't be ashamed of generosity. What is naive today may be common sense tomorrow. It's time for a new view of humankind, and the poem is titled Spaciously Mine. There is a space in me where I grow dreams, where my hopes flutter like beautiful butterflies in the wind. There is a space in me where, when the markets shut down, I bake my bread. There is a space in me when the writers of the world are all gone. I plant the seeds of the alphabet all over again. There is a space in me, my own sanctuary, into which I run when the world turns cruel. There is a space in me where boys and girls, the young, the old, and the downtrodden are fed the bread and wine of life. There is a space in me where I become the space. There is a space in me where I, myself, become the space. Thank you.
Thank you, Nithya. We are moved. Very powerful. Thank you, Nithya. Healing words.
Thank you, sir.
Now we call upon Sufia Khatoon, the author of Date in the Holy Month, and presently Sufia is suffering from COVID. So all our healing wishes to Sufia. Over to Sufia. Sufia? Sufia, hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. Frankly speaking, I think there's a lot of what I personally go through is a lot of hopelessness from time to time, and it's poetry that keeps me, like a little bit in reality of things. And today was really nice, sort of very healing when I heard everyone, and it's always nice. I'm just longing to, get back to it and listen and meet all of you someday personally. I hope things get better for all of us. Two poems I'll read. It's on, of course, it's called Healing, and the other one is called Hijra Outside My Zafri. I have this habit of using nature, and especially intertextuality, and then hybrid poetry. There are a lot of things I use: language, body, the feelings mostly when I express in my poems. So the healing is all about, how we have this habit of, using water as a process of healing for ourselves. And I keep asking myself, like, what works for us? What is that can bring comfort during these times to each one of us? And water for me works a lot. So this is called healing. I mix rose petals with sandalwood and rub it around myself. The scent magnifies the wounds sustained in war. There is silence in my fingers, and my navel smells of rage intoxicating me and my words. Water is denied only to the dead. Rub, rub, rub. Can you hold? Can you heal the decayed root? Do you know when healing begins? The mirror is imaging my distortion. It can't see the present. I look closer. My water-soaked soul and palms cleaning the mirror are swollen up. The mirror is tired. Remove the anger holding the skin and its border. Wash, wash, wash it all. The stain persists. In oil and fragrance, I clone my body to detoxify the memories. Clean, clean, clean. The raindrops on the surface march ahead, pouring, overflowing, flooding my porous soluble insides. Water drops on the mirror as I look on. Do you know when healing begins? Thank you. The second poem is called Hijri Outside My Zafri. So, Hijri is an era to do with the lunar calendar. And Hijra is the time when it's time of separation, sort of, from your loved one. So sort of goes with me because I'm in quarantine and this is my 12th day, and I'm really anxious at the time. So this poem is really close to me. It's like beautiful when I read it to myself. So this is how it goes. My sixth sense is the hijra of longing, hijri of separation in time. Lunar beam moving over the cityscape, water in the ghats, fragrance wafting from the night jasmines, and unspoken weight in my body. Outside my Zafri, silence and footsteps recall the tube well attached to a broken wall by the bazaar, and some paper wafers in a child's mouth. Shadows from the lantern light below falls on the housefly dreaming of a cleansed sight. I wonder where the moon rests on such a night. I sow my skin into the jamun tree, let the leaves become water boats, almost floating, almost reaching the perfection that life demands, but I refuse to obey. The conditioned heart, so lost in war. When you kiss my belly, my thighs, my breasts, my lips, you find dry lands, burned and dead a long time ago. There has been waiting, seeped deep inside its soil, reluctant to feel the migrating nerve of loss and love. Pluck out the era that witnessed violence and move closer, closer to the night, satiate its lingering hunger. Thank you.
Thank you, Sufia. Take care. Healing wishes from all of us. Get
Thank you
well very fast, super fast.
Great,
Okay.
great, Sufia.
Sufia, all
Thank
our
you,
best
Mr.
wishes. Thank you. Thank you. Now, from Sufia from Calcutta, we move on to Jharkhand. Basudhara Roy just we launched her second book of poems, Stitching a Home, in Shammukta Poetry Festival, and she is fighting with Corona in her family. Her two little kids are also affected Corona, and her husband is also Corona affected. So she is teaching homes. All our healing wishes to Basudhara, to Jamshedpur. Over to Basudhara.
Thank you so much. And I will have one poem which will not be very happy, but then I hope I will end with a happier poem. So my first poem is called Graffiti. The sky is thick with gatherings. Some news like lightning every moment rips the dark. Water recoils from its own stark fingers. This vagrant air, a widower bereft of faith. You had concluded death was absence, a traceless receding of form into space, leaving the world vaster, lonelier, fugitive words, the sole heir to a taxidermy of loss. Askance, you realize you were unprepared, untrained. When crisis comes as Holocaust, disaster, pandemic, war, it arrives regally, hardly unseen, only uncalled, needing no sanction to root that death tree in your yard. It has drunk an ocean or two of salt water, is growing fast, its nimble limbs firmly sprouting, unbeing like flowers. You glue your eyes to its fecundity, interrogate causality. As life gasps for breath, time's betrayal clogging its lungs. Having lived sans arithmetic so far, you are driven to count. Money, masks, friends, gloves, insurances, oranges, oxygen. You want to know how to immunize yourself against dying. The gods laugh. Your clock each second ticking closer to home. Outside, the world is sparser. Countless familiar faces lost. You're back to your childhood, uneasy as at school. When the releasing bell has gone and friends have left, your frantic eyes are awaiting a call from the keeper at the gate. In your mind, all cabinets are open, all memories haywire. It's urgent to catalog all lasts. Last calls, wishes, gifts, mails. You want to know what you must forever keep. Also, how much time you have left to give. On the trees' outstretched palms, silences bloom like flowers, like prayers. Like cherished kites, you want to draw them to your bosom. On the moonlight's stiff silence, your graffiti is an elegy. A million galaxies away, someone will read. No, you had loved. Thank you. That's my first poem, and as I said, not a very happy one, but I hope I will end on a happier note. And the second poem I'm going to read is from my new collection, that's Stitching a Home, which was launched at Sanjukta Poetry a few weeks ago. It's called Door. There is this door between us. I prefer to keep ajar. You prefer it shut. The door, half open, hoists my spirits skywards, promises that when my world closes in and my hemisphere turns hostile, I can fall back upon your sunshine. Your monsoons delight me, even though there is summer in my skies. I thrill to hear the rain pouring on your grass, the children prancing to it. When I brew tea, I wish to ask you to step in, to share a word or two. As you sip your cup in this place I have adored for you. I do not know what you think of the tea, of me, of the tuberoses growing in my night. I do not know what you think of all my handiwork, of the warmly knitted rug under your feet. I do not know if, when you leave, you think of me. It does not matter. All that matters is this door ajar, the space stretching out between us. If you consent to this, there is no room left in me for movement. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Basudhara. Thank you so much. Over to you.
And yes, and of course, we await our last poet for the day, who is none other than Jaydeep himself. So Jaydeep Sarangi is a widely anthologized bilingual Indian poet, editor academic, dubbed as Bard on the Banks of the Dulu. He has 9 published poetry collections to his credit, the latest one being Heart Raining the Light. Over to you, Jaydeep, sir.
Evening. The day is too quiet. All are happy with daily living, except a slow evening without speaking to anyone. I never mind when occasional thoughts remain to be taken, a friendship with unexpressed sorrow. I can neither see you nor hear you, only winter of things flow at the wheel of flying from here to there. Where do we stand and stend our poems? I'm too feeble to write about this evening. I choose to call it a night, a space without sound and fury, only sleep, deep sleep, and forgetting. Thank you. My second poem, Longing. Promises to stitching rain cloudlets. The song of pain echoes minds wet in coating. The sky holds winter's fugitive colors on the skin, in the air. The mind has taken a separate route, the way the wind comes from. How can I forget what has grown through my tearful journey through time's passage? Invisible signals remind me matters related to the heart of the small wishes, frail faiths, small hopes. Day's light rides on affection and desires. I long for time's wandering eye. I keep longing, keep longing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for those very beautiful poems. And now that we have come to an end of this beautiful session, we are open for discussions. We still have a wonderful audience with us. There are just 16 reading poets, and we have an audience of 46. We were nearly 60 a few minutes ago, and we are questions, discussions, comments, observations. Feel free to, kind of contribute to this, all of you.
Please share your views about a better tomorrow. Yeah, please, before we part, to get a clip from each other. Yeah. Bibhuda, will you say something?
I couldn't, in the beginning, I couldn't say anything. I thought there wasn't enough time for it. Thank you, Jaydeep, for inviting me to be a part of this platform. I enjoyed everyone's poetry. And it's a great thing you did. I cannot say that I do not know what COVID is, because my younger son and his wife are suffering from it. But I didn't want to be. I have 2 COVID-related poems that are appearing in an anthology to be published in USA. But I didn't want to read them. I didn't want to, talk about COVID at all. It's all around me. Any moment, anything can happen. But I enjoyed everyone's poetry. And thank you very much again for bringing everyone together. Thank you.
Thank you. Malashri and Sanjukta Di. Malashri, will you say something?
Deeply moved by the session. There is so much hope while there is the acknowledgement of sorrow and tragedy. Thank you very much for bringing your words and your thoughts together. Jaydeep, if at all possible, can we put all this at least on an online link or something? Because it's the hope that is so important. And poetry, as you rightly said in your opening words, is the instrument of healing.
Yes, Didi, it will be ready in a couple of days' time. By 2 to 3 days' time, it will be ready. I'll download it and share with you all. Sanjukta Di, for few words.
I'm so overwhelmed. I learned a lot from each of the poems, the mood, the tenor, the words, the images, the emotions, the intelligence, the emotional intelligence of each of the poems touched my heart, touched my feelings in a way that, to talk about what I have heard is difficult right now. I was so immersed, and it's been a wonderful experience for me. And I hope that we keep on meeting, because you brought the world together on this single platform. And so it's been wonderful that we have people from the UK and Tunisia and from all over India. And especially when I heard Tamil Nadu and Kerala, and here we are, and tomorrow is the day. And so, that's at the back of my mind all the time. And I am, and also the fact that it's May Day today, yes? And it is about workers. And workers are only, that is where Karl Marx made that huge mistake, that workers are also at home but unpaid. Yes? So workers of the world unite means that workers all over the world, from the home to the public domain, must unite against oppression and exploitation. That is also what I feel. And that is also part of all the experiences that we have talked about today. When we talked about that little domestic worker, that 12-year-old girl, it was such a searing experience. And COVID, as from the 16 poets here, so many have had COVID in the homes, in losing relatives, and also Sufi, who is such a dear of mine, suffering from that. And right now it's her 12th day. None of us have ever thought that we would have to go through this, even in 2021. I thought it was all over and now it would be business as usual, one of those nightmares that had happened in our lives. But no, it goes on and on, which is what my poem had tried to say, that what's the point of so much of investment in defense when we cannot defend ourselves at all against an invisible micro enemy, but with such power, unthinkable. And so, Jaydeep, let us all dream of a better tomorrow and hope the dream will be translated into reality. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sanjukta Di. We can't wait, but go to Malashri, because it's, I think, 2 at night. She is still with us and from New Zealand. Malashri, hello.
I think she just got disconnected. She was here a minute ago. She just got disconnected.
I just saw.
Maybe she'll join again.
Bootheina, will you share your thoughts? I saw your hand.
Thank you, Jaydeep. When you sent me the invitation, I was going through a moment of despair because there is a new lockdown here in Tunisia and the situation is getting worse as far as the coronavirus is concerned. But then came this invitation, and I think that going in times like these, very hard times, we tend to forget the beauty around and the beauty of words. Let me use a beautiful expression that Usha used, which is the golden womb of earth. This is what poetry is. I would like to thank you for the invitation, Basudhara, for the wonderful presentation, and for being you, and thank you for sharing your contribution with me. I would like to thank all the poets. Wow, means that I have not really felt the time passing. It was every word was important, and it was so moving and so touching. There was mythology, there were prayers, there were moments of despair, but there was harmony, I think, that we sang today, and we prayed together for a better world, and we celebrated the beauty of words. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, Bootheina. Wishes from India.
Malsawmi ma'am is here.
Yeah, hello, Malashri, hello. Anyone would like to? Yeah, Malashri is back. I think very late, it's morning, almost morning there, isn't it?
You did
Thank
it
you.
previously also, Malashri.
It's been such a joy listening to all of you. Sometimes, your heart is moved, and the beauty of the sounds of so many of your poems, just it was a sheer delight listening to you all, even while feeling very sad at the situation. All that. Anyway, I hope this will not be the last. Hope we can meet again like this at all, hoping for a better tomorrow. And Jayanti's, your double rainbow really touched me. Thank you so much for inviting me. I really enjoyed every bit of it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Take care. Usha, before we go to vote of thanks, Usha will give any talk.
All I can say that, yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Right. All I can say is, every word was an eternity. I loved all the reading. Thank you very much, Jaydeep and Basudhara. And I'm particularly moved by all the brave people, Basudhara, Sufia, Nithya, and Bipuda, who are just braving the coronavirus for themselves and their family and coming to share their words with us. I can only quote from the scriptures and say, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, let light lead. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Thank you so much. Over to Basudhara for vote of thanks. Yeah.
Thank you. I think I have no words to express my gratitude for everyone who came here to join the event, for the wonderful audience that has constantly been encouraging, been very perceptive. There have been lovely comments in the chat box to tell us we are not alone, to tell us we are being heard. And I think that is what makes poetry very important. Poetry has tremendous power, but it can only affect us when we choose it. Poetry has to be embraced in order to be able to make a difference. And the fact that we have a wonderful audience accompanying us today is ample proof of the fact that poetry is embraced. Poetry will continue to be embraced. The more we enter darkness, the more will be the search for hope in poetry. So thank you so much, everybody. And on behalf of everybody, I express my gratitude to Jaydeep sir for organizing this. It came as a surprise to me also, and it was beautiful. I did not think I would be able to connect because I have a family of 5 people who are all positive, and it's difficult. So I did not think I would get time to be away, but I not only got time to be here, I also healed, I also learned. There were 2 beautiful poems shared about 2 nieces, which was very moving, I believe, for all of us. One niece who is growing, and we bless her for a wonderful life ahead. A niece who has been lost, and we do not have words. I can understand how tender the situation is. I have a 3-year-old myself who was positive, and I know what it feels to bear this loss. So I think all of us have shared narratives of loss and healing. And as Bootheina said, we have been praying together for these last 90 minutes or so. Thank you, everybody, for making this event very, very special, very memorable. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Cheers for poetry. Take
Our
care.
prayers are with you, Basudhara.
Yeah, all prayers for all of you. Take care. All things will be fine tomorrow. Yeah, looking
Everybody
forward.
stay safe, stay well.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes,
you.
stay safe, all of you.
And
Thank
wear
you.
the
Thank
mask.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Cheers
Thank
to
you.
you.
Stay safe. All of you stay safe.
Mandakini
Bye
prayers.
bye.
Mandakini. Bye bye. See you.
Bye.
Sufia, take care.
Thank you again.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you so
Bibhu.
much.
Thank you, Malashri. Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you.
Malashri.
Yeah. Thank you. Take care. Take
Good night,
care. Take
everybody.
care. Take care,
Bye-bye.
Jayanthi. Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night. Good night. Good night. Take care. Take care, everybody. Yeah. Good night.